Okay, I think I had an ovarian cyst rupture and possibly a torsion of my ovary. But right now I need to go to Irish dancing, which I know is absolutely insane and I should definitely not be doing it. But my pain level right now is okay. After this, I'm going to go get an ultrasound and I'll explain more to you though. But for now, I have my Christmas show coming up and I need to be at this class. Okay, so here's what happened. By the way, dancing was really good and the pain in my shoulder hurt, but everything else was pretty okay. On Wednesday afternoon, I got a serious searing pain in my right ovary. And then I went to the toilet and then I thought I was going to pass out because it just felt like it was exploding, which suggests to me that it's probably a ruptured cyst on my right ovary. It really hurt. I went home. I couldn't drive home or anything. I had to be driven home. It sucked and I was like, this is not good. What was weird though is usually once I go to sleep, I don't wake up. I don't stay awake. And throughout the night, it was waking me up from the pain and it felt like it was twisting in there. And then I was starting to worry, is this maybe a cyst rupture that's caused a torsion of my ovary, which I've had in the past? But it wasn't nearly as painful as what I had in the past. Last time I had a torsion, I screamed the house down. So wasn't really sure. Went back to work on Thursday because I was in a lot of pain, but I was okay. Then Thursday evening, I had extreme pain. I was screaming. Have a video about it. I'll show you. So that's the level of pain I was in, and that's not even videoing the worst part of it. That's just me probably on my 9 or 8 out of 10. There were 10s there, but that was just a lot. Really painful. I thought, okay, it feels like my ovary is twisting, untwisting, twisting, untwisting. This is awful and I'm nervous. But the issue is if I go to the hospital, they're going to want to give me pain meds, which I don't take anyway. They're going to look at me and probably say that there's nothing wrong because that's what they generally do because they can't see much on their imaging. They may do an ultrasound, internal, external. They may see some free fluid, which would suggest a cyst rupture, but overall, I didn't have a lot of confidence that they would actually know what was going on. And I wanted to go to work because hopefully the next day it was going to be fine again. And I have things to do. I had a concert to go to. So I pushed through and it was very sore, but I thought that if it hit an hour, I would go to the hospital. After 50 minutes, the pain subsided. Yay. So didn't go to the hospital. Cool. The next day I went to work and I had a phone consult with the doctor, and the doctor said, if you've got a history of cyst ruptures and twisted ovaries, you should go to the hospital because it could be that again and we don't want you to lose your ovary. However, my pain was now only about a 3 out of 10. So again, I really didn't want to leave work just to go and wait in a hospital for them to say there's nothing wrong with me. And I felt like I would know. I would know if it was twisted again. It would be extreme. What I think's happened is on Thursday, it's twisted, untwisted, twisted, untwisted, but then it sat in the untwisted position and that's why it was still sore on Friday, but it was no longer twisted, therefore no longer an emergency. I also had a concert that night, so I didn't want to go. So I went through the day. It was painful, but it was okay. Then I went to the concert and again, it was a bit sore, but it was starting to get better. And I've woken up today, Saturday morning, and it's still sore. But what is more sore is the pain between my shoulder blade and my spine. This started hurting on the Wednesday at the same time as my endometriosis flared. Apparently, what can happen is if you have a cyst rupture, there is a nerve around your ovaries that run up to between your shoulder blade and your spine. This hurt so much that on Thursday, I couldn't even take a full breath in. I had to move my whole body to twist. It was like I really done my back. Now, today, it's probably more sore than my endometriosis. It's still really stiff, but I did just manage to go to Irish dancing, so I am okay. However, I don't want to waste my time, but I found out that I don't have to go to the emergency, but I can go to urgent care. So I'm going to go in to urgent care and just see if they can do an ultrasound. The issue will potentially be that it's now been too long and any free fluid or anything like that now will no longer show up because I procrastinated medical care. But I guess it's good to know. Oh, and fun news, I'm back to feeling good again. So even though I've had all of this crazy pain, it marks my ovulation. And I'm feeling really good. Like I can feel like I can conquer the world. My head's clear. I'm ready to go. I want to do stuff. I'm organized. I'm social. I feel really good. And I'm in crippling pain. But I'm really excited, and I don't know how long it now lasts for because I'm a bit out of touch with where my cycle is. I want to like soak it up and use up as much of it as I can while it's here before I probably fall back into the abyss of the other part of my cycle where I'm sad. But we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to go into urgent care now and see what they have to say. So the reason I'm going to urgent care and not my GP is because my GP is specifically said to go to emergency. By the time I got an ultrasound, you can wait like 3 weeks for it, and by then everything definitely would be done. So I went to urgent care and they said that if my doctor said that I should get an ultrasound, then they couldn't do it. I'd have to go to the emergency department. And I was like, but I really don't want to go to the emergency department because I don't think it's an emergency. And they were like, you need to go. So, but my pain's not even that bad. You need to go. Fine. So I drove here. They said that the wait's not very long. Yay. Although I had a 15-minute drive and I have spent 15 minutes trying to park. This place is stupid. And I know that there's some kid, maybe in America, who was like petitioning against paying for parking at hospitals because his parents was spending like $15,000 or $20,000 a year going to visit him because he had cancer. It should be illegal to have paid parking in hospitals. I have been round and round and round and round. Firstly, I couldn't even find the paid parking, and they've changed everything, and the signage is terrible, and God help me if it was actually an emergency and I wanted to boot somebody out my car like quickly. There's so many one-way streets. It's absolutely shocking. And then I finally do find how to get into the car park, and I go in and it's like a really thin, long road so that once you're in and you see the prices, you can't escape. Fortunately, there was nobody behind me, so I just reversed like miles back because screw that. It's like $27 for 3 hours. And I know that's not the end of the world, but no. So anyway, I am now parked on a street somewhere near the hospital and I'm just going to walk, but not fun. And I just can't even imagine how stressed somebody would be if they're trying to find a park in an actual emergency. Not good enough, Adelaide. Okay, this is weird. Okay, so they've moved emergency. Lucky I'm not in crippling pain, or this would have been a disaster. When you know where something is, you don't really look at the signs, but also the signs weren't super visible because they're kind of still renovating. Anyway, there are clear signs now, so I'm going to hopefully go there. And the nice lady who I spoke to kind of assured me that yes, even though I'm not in a lot of pain now, I still need to go. And she did it in a nicer way that I believed more than everybody else. It's all about the delivery, people. Still, I need an arrow. So this is the emergency. Does that look like an emergency? No. It says Queen Elizabeth Hospital. So then I walked this way. I found stickers. So it is this door. This is the most inconspicuous door I've ever seen. It's so quiet. So it's completely empty in here. Okay, there's one person. There's one person waiting. It's wild. I've never seen a department so empty, which is really good because my level of triage would be so not important. I would never see a doctor otherwise, but cool. Let's hope it just stays like that and more medical emergencies don't come in before me. I got my bloods taken, which I'm a big wuss about, so I didn't video it. Also, if you're a big wuss about it too, you don't want to see that. It's ugh. Anyway, it was fine. She was pretty good at it, but I feel a bit gross now. I've been upgraded to a bigger recliner. As far as hospital visits go, not being in absolutely agonizing pain really helps the whole experience. Also, not having to wait. Wow, like this is my day, man. I kind of wish that I kept a collection of these so I could see how many times I've been to hospital, especially to see how many times I've been to hospital before I was diagnosed. The doctor was really lovely and he spent like a lot of time with me. It wasn't just like, oh, what's your stuff? Cool, done. It was really good. He went through the whole history and he says it's probably a torsion and then it's untorted, but he is going to do an ultrasound. He's not a sonographer, but at least he'll be able to see if anything is there. He could see that. He can't see if something's not there, but it's a bit of an idea. But ultimately, I think they're just going to check me out and then send me home, and they're going to do bloods and urine. So at least it's not been an unpleasant experience, and it's been nice to be really cared for and thought about and talked through. And yeah, I like that I could come up with my own diagnosis because I know as well what I'm doing. And I often, doctors can be quite arrogant and be like, I'm the one who tells you what's wrong. And it's like, well, this is what I think it is because I've had them before. So anyway, we'll see. It's going well so far though. Okay, so I've been discharged. The doctor did an ultrasound. He didn't look at my ovaries. He said he's absolutely useless at that. So there was a little bit of fluid, but it probably wasn't a huge cyst rupture. Otherwise, it would have been apparent still. But because I did leave it that amount of time, it was super hard to tell. He said from the sounds of it, it probably was a torsion and it had twisted and untwisted. So that's good to know. The doctor was really good though, and he did say that next time, if I have that 10 out of 10 pain that feels like a torsion, to come in straight away, because once that torting stops, you've got 19 minutes to get your bloods taken to show a marker of lactate. I think it was like lactate. Anyway, there is something in your bloods that will show up, and if something is like twisting inside of you, you've got like 19 minutes. After those 19 minutes, the chance of that showing up in your bloods goes down by 50%, and then by another 50%, and then it's almost negligible, like you can't even see it. But that was really good to know. And then the other thing, which is cool, is that whatever it is like an acid, and that'll show up. And if it has been later, they can also measure your alkaline, because there's a particular like alkaline that comes to match the acid. So if it is a little bit later and it doesn't show that, it can show the after effect. So if that helps anybody, it really helped me, because I've never sort of seen the value in going in quickly. Sometimes it passes, and I don't want to chalk up the emergency department for something that they can't do anything about. But he said, if you get the 10 out of 10 pain and it's persistent for a bit, come straight in, because yeah, we've got 19 minutes from when the pain stops essentially. So I didn't really get any conclusive answers today, but it was nice to see a doctor who was empathetic, really took the time to like get my history, understand what was going on, and just do what needed to be done. Like I don't think that I needed any massive surgeries or anything investigated. I just wanted to make sure that it was okay. And from the looks of it, it was. So that's good. But he said if it still hurts past Tuesday, make sure I get an internal ultrasound. He suggested to go get an internal ultrasound anyway, but if it's past Tuesday, it's probably not going to show, because even if the cyst is ruptured and my body's eaten up all the fluid inside, there's still like the pouch there where the cyst came from, like when you pop a balloon. So I might have a chat to my doctor on Monday and see if I can get in for an internal ultrasound. Otherwise, I'll just leave it and just be like, whoops, that sucked, and I'll do better next time. Oh, and the doctor's wife also had endometriosis, which made a big difference to how empathetic he was. Well, that's me. I'm absolutely starving, but I wanted to keep you posted on my endometriosis journey as promised, hoping that I can inform you a little bit about your own journey through mine. So if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure there'll be many, many more. I am hoping to have a baby at some stage eventually when I've stopped being so silly and scared of it. So if you're interested in endometriosis content, please follow along. I promise they're not all this vloggy. Can I promise that? I don't know.